So Nancy Drew, Mystery of the Seven Keys, came out on Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, and everybody was like, oh damn it, forgot my Digital River password again. Come on. This might take a while. And seeing how the previous entry, Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem, was a little bit underwhelming.
Why are there protesters in a small town like this?
Clearly, the pressure was on for Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys to be a success. Before starting my Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys review, I would like to go over some disclaimers. First up, this is a mild spoiler review. Viewer discretion is advised. If you want to experience the game completely fresh, you might want to play it first and then come back to join our discussion. Next, let's talk about my review process. I rate my games on a scale of 1 to 10. My scores are based on an overall feeling, taking into account the sum of all parts: gameplay, story, graphics, you name it. It's all about how the game comes together as a whole. Also, all opinions expressed in this video are entirely my own. I'm here to give you my honest thoughts and impressions, detective to detective. Full transparency, I was asked to be part of the launch day team at Her Interactive, and they graciously provided me with a free code to play the game. Rest assured, this doesn't influence my review, but I wanted you to know. Thank you, Her Interactive, for allowing me to be part of the launch day team. It is an honor. And finally, if you have any thoughts, questions, or just want to share your own detective experiences, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Now that we've got that covered, let's jump into the review and uncover the secrets of Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. The Nancy Drew games are a beloved series and very much a lightning in a bottle situation. Each game combines education and entertainment. There's snooping, solving puzzles, finding secret passageways, interrogating suspects, and all of it is done in a very whimsical world that is tongue-in-cheek and lots of fun. Does Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys live up to its potential though? Does the game do a good job at successfully recapturing the lightning in a bottle situation that the old Nancy Drew games had?
Right, Scott!
So in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys, Nancy receives a letter from a complete stranger named Adela.
Hello?
Adela, not Adele. Instructing her to fly to Prague and figure out why her mother's necklace got stolen. And Nancy, tired of the 5 seconds that she's spent back home at River Heights since her last case, decides to hop on a plane and solve everyone's problems. Again. Like, seriously, Nancy. You're like the one person that finds an excuse to travel everywhere. I'm surprised your friends aren't confronting you and being like...
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy. Dangerous.
So Nancy arrives at the Hunger Kunstler? And Nancy is greeted by whom I can only describe as Red from Orange is the New Black on Netflix. So after a brief conversation of Red fangirling over us, the Sims 4 chick comes out of nowhere and claims that she is the real Adela.
No, I am Adela Cherna.
This is fraud. Prove you are me.
I owe you nothing. Imposter.
And after a few hours of arguing, Nancy decides to take it upon herself to channel the inner Starbucks gods and figure out who the real Adela is.
How do you prefer to take your coffee?
That is difficult. I enjoy an espresso with a hint of lemon.
I take it black.
I know who the real Adela Cherna is.
Objection!
You are.
I can't believe it. You are wrong. I am not sure I should have hired you.
Oh boy, Her Interactive is not playing around this time. This is one hard case. So the next day, bright and early, Nancy arrives back at the cafe, and after a very smooth and cinematic cutscene, Nancy finally determines the reason why she's in Prague.
I have nothing more to say.
Well, this is a little awkward. So the real mystery begins when Adela slides us a list of names of people that we must look into on the matter of trying to figure out who was responsible with giving Adela a fake necklace.
Amazing.
Seems like an open and shut case, right? All we have to do is just talk to some suspects, get a record of the events. Well, not exactly. This time around, Nancy will be dealing with
Every kiss begins with K.
Deadly Device Daddy 2.0, Joe from You on Netflix, the Apple Store Genius Bar,
Here for Scopa.
Doctor Who, and finally, Geppetto from Pinocchio. Nancy's got her work cut out for her, so let's dive right in. It all started 8 years ago. Her Interactive teased us with a glimpse of what could be. The classic point-and-click adventures of Nancy Drew transformed into a free-roaming exploration, and fans were like, whoa, what is this sorcery? With fans saying things like, a free-roaming museum, but how will I point? How will I click? Or even, this isn't Nancy, this is some sort of imposter. The fan base was divided. Some wanted to hold on to the nostalgia of point-and-click, while others were ready to embrace the future and run through the halls of the museum like it was their own personal playground. Her Interactive was faced with a conundrum, a mystery so perplexing it would make even Nancy herself scratch her head. How can they please the classic fans and the modern gamer?
Salem. A town this old is bound to have some unbelievable stories.
Fast forward to December 3rd, 2019. Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem was released. It stayed true to its point-and-click roots, but added some limited camera controls. Fans were, well, let's just say they were less than thrilled. With Nancy Drew fans outraged, asking very important questions like, where's my to-do list? Why can't I check that off yet? What happened to my trusty notebook? Puzzles. Backtracking? Gone. It seemed like the new engine had solved some mysteries, but created even more. So how can Her Interactive bridge the gap between the old school sleuths and the new gen detectives? Let's investigate, shall we? So what makes a good Nancy Drew game? Well, for starters, let's keep the heart of Nancy Drew intact. The classic point-and-click gameplay is what made us fall in love with these games in the first place. It's like a warm, cozy mystery blanket. Sounds familiar. But what if we sprinkle in some modern magic? Now imagine a game where you can choose your mode. Want to click around like the good old days? Go for it. Feel like stretching those legs and exploring in first person? Be my guest. And let's not forget our beloved features. The to-do list, the notebook, and the intricate puzzles. And last but not least, the power of community. Open up channels for fan feedback during development, beta tests, polls, and forums where fans can voice their opinions and help shape the game. The key is balance, my fellow sleuths. By honoring the legacy of Nancy Drew while embracing innovative gameplay, Her Interactive can create a game that satisfies both the die-hard fans and the new generation of detectives. So, Her Interactive, the case is in your hands. We are counting on you to crack this one wide open. Now, let's talk about the latest installment in the Nancy Drew series, Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. This game answers all our questions about the engine and gameplay and more. Her Interactive listened, and they gave us the ability to choose between a classic point-and-click mode and a free-roaming mode. That's right, you can switch modes anytime you want as long as you're in-game, and they made it super easy to control. In point-and-click mode, it's exactly how you'd expect it to be. You can explore environments by jumping to key areas. The 360-degree camera turn system has been smoothed out and controls like a dream. Free roam mode, on the other hand, lets us run wild. And when I say wild, I mean Nancy has never run so fast before. She runs faster than Sonic the Hedgehog. The free roam controls give us the opportunity to enjoy all of Prague's vast environments and marvel at the beautiful details of Prague Castle. You can explore every nook and cranny, uncovering secrets and solving mysteries like never before. It's the perfect blend of old and new. The game stays true to its roots, while embracing modern gameplay elements. It's like Nancy Drew got a high-tech makeover, but still kept her classic charm. The game also brings back fan-favorite features like the to-do list and notebook, but with a twist. Nancy's task list is now built into her smartphone, allowing her to keep track of all her completed and pending to-do items. Just like in the classic Nancy Drew games, we can manually check things off once we get them done. Nancy's fan-favorite sayings like "can't check that off yet" also make a welcoming comeback, adding flavor to this already bright and beautiful world. Players can also text and call their favorite characters, check out the map and learn more about Prague's history, take photos in photo mode, and view their screenshots for later. Nancy can also use her task list to get hints if she needs help on solving a puzzle. This was a very handy feature, and I found myself using it quite a few times when I truly felt stuck. The notebook, on the other hand, allows players to view observations and information about the case, including Czech translations, a detailed timeline of what's happened in the case so far, suspect profiles, along with Nancy's opinions, and our completed list of achievements. The updated journal is a wonderful addition to this mystery, and I found myself going back to it constantly. The inventory system in Mystery of the Seven Keys borrows a lot from its predecessor, Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem, but makes things smoother and more fun. Nestled in between the phone and journal, Nancy can slide through inventory items and click on them to see their description, as well as double-click on them to see a 3D view of the item. While in 3D mode, players can rotate the item in all directions and use this to their advantage to find hidden clues on items. Nancy can also use items with other items by selecting one item and using it on another. This happens quite often, and I was happy to see the amount of versatility with items. Overall, the user interface in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys is very easy to use. It gives us the perfect combination of classic and modern. The premise of Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys is pretty solid. Nancy Drew, our fearless detective, is on another case, but this time in the beautiful and historic city of Prague. However, trying to figure out the exact timeline of events could be confusing at times. It gave The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask's timeline a run for its money, and let's be real, Nancy doesn't have an ocarina to travel back in time. Despite the timeline confusion, the pacing of the plot was spot on. I never felt like there was a lull or that I didn't know what to do next. The game keeps you engaged from start to finish, with each clue leading seamlessly to the next. One of the highlights of my experience was the rich history woven into the game. Prague's history is dense, and being able to experience it through a haunted ghost tour, a puppet show, and more was incredible. It felt like I was getting a real taste of Prague's culture and past. Now let's talk about the colorful cast of characters we meet along the way. Each suspect was a joy to interact with, adding depth and intrigue to the mystery. Adela was mysterious and extremely eager to get her necklace back. Every conversation with her felt like peeling back another layer of her secrets. Patricia at the cafe was incredibly friendly and motherly. She provided a warm contrast to the more intense aspects of the investigation. Oscar showed a lot of passion for Prague's history. His standoffish attitude made him suspicious, but his knowledge was invaluable. Vladena's passion for jewelry was apparent, as was her arrogance and clear motivations. She was a character you loved to be wary of. Elka was the genius bar of mystery solving. Her tech skills were impressive and added a modern twist to the investigation. Merrick knew a great deal about both old and new Prague. His insights bridged the past and present, making him an essential ally. Radek, the marionette actor, was so much fun to talk to. His performances were charming, and his knowledge of theater added a world of unique flavor to the mystery. Leo was a delightful, fun, elderly man. I wish I could have played cards with him. His stories and personality added a touch of warmth to the game. And last but not least, Agent Zane was a fantastic character who really helped push the mystery forward. His unique presence added a layer of intrigue and urgency to the investigation. Did I say last? We actually have one more suspect. I'm looking at you, adorable cat whose name I can't pronounce. Is it Marias? Mariash? Oh, I don't know. You're adorable. One feature that I would like to point out is the updated dialogue system. This time around, the dialogue box is more stylized and animated using push effects. The dialogue box will always show who is talking along with their dialogue text. If you ever need to replay a conversation or see what was just spoken, the game also allows you to see a conversation audit. This became super helpful when trying to remember what was just said and creating a solid timeline of the mystery. The only critique I have with the dialogue system would be the font. I do think it would be nice if there was an opportunity to make the font size larger for accessibility purposes. Another critique I have with suspects is, well, they don't really do anything. At least with past Nancy Drew games, suspects would be actively doing things before Nancy would approach them. This time around, they're all just staring out into the unknown void. Like, seriously, is there anything up there? Hello? Hello? Fortunately, a lot of these things are just nitpicks, and they don't take away from the actual mystery itself. Besides the diverse cast of suspects, Nancy's case will also involve coffee art, Kafka memorials, torque, potato pancakes, being ghosted by the Hardy Boys, getting a message from Deirdre even though we blocked her, aliens, knights in shining armor here to rescue us from our problems. Oh wait, no! No! Delicious pastries we can't pick up or eat. Puppet shows, laptop chargers, Scopa cards, the Apple Store, antique shops. Wait a minute. Chicago Joe? That's me! And a reference to Super Spy Academy, my indie game? Please wishlist it on Steam, guys. It would help me so much. Link in the description. Phone friends that we can't talk to, haunted ghost tours, small clocks, giant clocks, clocks inside clocks, keys, and much, much more. In Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys, there are a lot of puzzles. There are combination puzzles, sequence puzzles, mix and match, multi-layered puzzles, box game puzzles, reference puzzles, and more. Some of the puzzles were self-explanatory, like the hacking puzzle. I enjoyed this puzzle a lot, and I would love it if Nancy could use that skill again in future games. I know a lot of people complain about puzzles being reused between games, but if a puzzle is fun and we get new versions of it that introduce new challenges or gameplay elements, then why not? I wouldn't mind that at all. There were some puzzles that were a little tougher, but I think they needed some exposition. For example, in games like Puzzle Agent or Professor Layton, the instructions of how to solve a puzzle are clearly laid out to the player. This gives the player enough information to get started without feeling overwhelmed on what solution they are looking for exactly. In past Nancy Drew games, Nancy would sometimes even talk to herself, giving the player an idea of what to do next. Honestly, I think the to-do list should just explain the puzzle better and what we should do. The to-do list is already built into the game, and it would just be easy for players to consult that and see instructions there. So that's just one possible solution. Another critique that I have is that some puzzles were a little bit blurry. In multiple instances of the game, we had to use our environment to gain contextual clues on how to solve a puzzle. For example, in an office, we need to look at a wall in order to figure out the correct way to place stones. However, the wall's inscription of the stones were blurry and hard to determine the shapes. I think situations like this can be addressed if the player can zoom into their environment, or if the player could see a highlighted version of the wall that illuminates the clues in neon colors. Why not give Nancy a second sense? Another example that this becomes especially important in is the alchemy lab, where we must mix chemicals. The symbols of the chemicals are blurry and hard to read. A zoom-in feature or a second sense ability to see outlined versions would be so much easier. One feature that I would love to highlight is the chase sequences. These puzzles were essentially 3D maze games. Nancy would enter a dangerous area and will be pursued by somebody chasing her. Nancy must frantically try to find her way out by navigating a maze of tunnels, locked doors, obstacles, and ultimately make her way to the exit. I loved the chase sequences. I've never felt more like Nancy in these moments. I also loved that the chase sequences allowed us to preview an area before going back later to explore it. Her Interactive, if you are watching this, great job. These were awesome experiences, and I would love to see more chases in future Nancy Drew games. Imagine having to use stealth and hide from a pursuer only to let them pass you and escape from behind them, or being able to do QuickTime events to jump over boxes, or pushing switches to open doors, or selecting quiet versions of dialogue options in order to stay hidden. The possibilities are truly endless. Her Interactive also got really clever with some puzzles, and for the sake of spoilers, I won't talk about it too much. Basically, there is an anti-puzzle that isn't necessarily meant to be solved, but instead is used as a cinematic plot device to push the story forward. This kind of reminds me of role-playing games where boss battles are not meant to be completed because a story situation is about to take place. So I really love that Her Interactive honed in on a puzzle, but instead of having a player solve it, it became sort of an anti-puzzle that really was just used to push the plot forward. It surprised me when I saw it, and I really loved seeing something like that because I really don't think it's been done in a Nancy Drew game before. Overall, the puzzles in Mystery of the Seven Keys are a mix of self-contained, easy-to-understand puzzles, along with more involved puzzles that do take more time. I think if Her listens to some of the critiques above, they could not only improve Key, but make future Nancy Drew games more user-friendly and fun. So, we've unraveled the threads of the mystery and met some unforgettable characters along the way. Now, let's talk about something that can make or break the atmosphere of any great mystery adventure game: the audio experience. That's right, detectives, it's time to dive into the music and voice acting of Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. Quick disclaimer, I won't review all the soundtracks for the sake of spoilers, but I will vaguely talk about them. Why don't we get started with The Coffee Shop? The song that plays in The Coffee Shop is a standout track in my opinion. The soft piano in the background is incredibly soothing, and its slower tempo evokes a sense of nostalgia and warmth. It's the kind of music that makes you feel like you can truly take a deep breath, relax, and add some cozy atmosphere to the game. The Piazza's song is a thrilling composition that reminds me of epic scores from the TV show Doctor Who. With its cinematic instruments and grandiose melody, it's perfectly capturing the grandeur and wonder of the historic Prague castle nearby. This vibrant track brings the hustle and bustle of the Piazza to life, making my journeys through this area feel like an adventure. I thoroughly enjoyed it as I dashed to my next destination. The Marionette Show area in the Piazza features a delightful music box melody that feels like it's straight out of a child's imagination. This enchanting tune evokes feelings of happiness and wonder, capturing the whimsical spirit of the game. It's no surprise to me that this beautiful track is also used as the main menu music, as it perfectly exemplifies the game's tone of a peaceful and wondrous adventure. The jewelry store's music has a surprisingly somber vibe, featuring a repeating piano melody that feels a little bit out of place for such a setting. Unlike the acid jazz or glamorous runway tunes you'd expect in a jewelry store, this track leans more towards an ominous tone. For real, if you do a Google search for jewelry store music, you will come across genres that sound like something out of a fashion runway. While I did enjoy the melody, its subdued and introspective nature felt unusual for this location, adding an unexpected layer of mystery to my shopping experience, and also a little bit of confusion. Okay, hear me out. What if we actually tried switching it up with some Louis Vuitton jewelry store music? Let's see how it looks. The museum's music, featuring a dreary violin, felt quite depressing and out of place. While the choice might be tied to the game's story about a knight who played violin in prison, I think a more clever approach would have been like a tango with a remixed violin piece and other instruments. This could have even highlighted a potential subtle romantic tension between Oscar and Vladena, adding a fun layer to their relationship and possibly leading to a romantic reveal. While the track wasn't bad, it seemed mismatched again with the atmosphere, and there was definitely a missed opportunity to enhance the narrative. Again, hear me out, what if we switch the music with something like this? The priest's office features a music box melody blended with cinematic sounds, creating a sense of mystery and intrigue that fits perfectly. This track complements Leo's enigmatic character and the challenging puzzle in his office, making it a solid and fitting choice. I have no complaints about this piece. It effectively enhances the atmosphere and aligns well with the game's themes. So the dungeon features two tracks, the chase music, which was fantastic, no complaints, and then the regular dungeon music. While the chase music was great, the regular dungeon track felt too quiet and lacked a recognizable melody. It reminded me of the dungeon music from Nancy Drew Curse of Blackmore Manor, but without the same impact. A more melodic track could have elevated the atmosphere significantly, making it feel like a missed opportunity. The Piazza with the Clock features a bouncy, whimsical tune that adds a delightful layer of humor to the area. I genuinely enjoyed visiting here just to listen to the music. It perfectly complements the locale and its decorations, making it a standout track that enhances the overall experience of being in Prague. The music in the computer store Apparat felt off-tone, with a rushed and worried vibe that didn't match the high-tech setting. Despite the store's beauty, the music didn't convey the excitement of upgrading technology. An upbeat and fun track would have been a better fit, reflecting the anticipation and enthusiasm of customers looking to enhance their technology. Okay, hear me out again. Let's try remixing things up a bit, and let me know what you think in the comments. The music in the secondhand repair shop carried an air of anticipation, with a slightly topsy-turvy feel that suited the setting okay. While I didn't mind the music, I couldn't help but imagine how fitting it would have been if Merrick's focus on keeping the old Prague was reflected in the music. A radio playing classic Czech music from the 80s with its retro vibe could have added a fun and nostalgic twist to the location, perfectly blending in old and retro and new atmosphere, and I think there was definitely a missed opportunity here as well. So what if we tried putting in some classic 80s synthy retro music in this store? Let's see how it would change the vibe. Welcome back. Don't mind me, I'm just making some coffee art. Overall, the music in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys is pretty solid. The music does reflect the mystery very well, and I get the feeling that her interactive really wanted tracks that focused more on the mystery and less on the culture, which is totally fine. However, I do feel that some of the environments would have benefited from tracks that could have made these environments more memorable and more fun, especially with some of the changes that I made. The changes in the swaps of the music, by the way, are music that I do not own. It's copyright-free music on YouTube, and this video isn't monetized, so I am just doing this for fun. But while we are still on the topic of music and voice acting, I would like to take some time to talk about the actual voice acting in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. First off, I just want to say, wow, this game had a lot of voice acting, and everyone overall did a wonderful job. But before going too deeply into these characters, I do want to talk about the big elephant in the room.
All right, on this next story, you may not have heard of her, but if you've ever played any popular video games, or maybe your kids, you've certainly heard her voice.
A San Diego woman makes her living speaking for hundreds of video game characters. News 8's Richard Allen is here to introduce us to this local vocal talent.
Well, that's right. From video games like Diablo and Soul Calibur to World of Warcraft and even Nancy Drew, San Diegan Lonnie Manella has voiced countless characters.
You just got to know where it's coming from.
While you may not recognize the face, you likely know the voice.
Get down on your knees and bark like a dog. Woof.
All right, very good.
Veteran voice actor Lonnie Manella, a native San Diegan, is behind the characters in more than 500 video games, from Girl Detective Nancy Drew.
Hi, I'm Nancy. Dear Ned, we're here at Castle Malloy.
To more ferocious creatures.
You should have considered my offer. Such a pity.
The World of Warcraft, Blizzard, Diablo, StarCraft.
The list and the characters seem endless.
I'm Luke, the little assistant
Billy Bob. Billy Bob, them taters are good.
Okay, we're gonna be a little gnome getting hit.
Yalla, Nimshi, come over here.
a job that's much more physical than it sounds.
When you're doing your attack, it has to be a consonant like.
And boasting a 4-octave range, Manella's voice and talent are ageless.
We all start out as babies. And then as days go by, we get a little older and we're told we shouldn't cry. We go to school and trying to be cool. And then we graduate. Some of us might be mommies, others work, or even date. As we grow old, we wonder, were we smart or just a fool? Now some of us are back in diapers again, and others even drool.
Now, Manella has been lending her voice to video game characters since 1992.
Switching the voice of a beloved character like Nancy Drew is akin to changing Super Mario's iconic voice. It's jarring and unexpected. In Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem, her interactive replaced the original voice actress Lani Minella with Brittany Cox, citing Minella's voice as sounding too old for the role. This decision left many fans shocked and disappointed. However, it's important to recognize Lani Minella's incredible talent and the emotional impact of her absence. Mystery of the Seven Keys is a wonderful addition to the series, and it truly feels like a Nancy Drew game, but Lani's absence is palpable. Her voice is unique and irreplaceable, and while Brittany Cox does a commendable job, the difference is evident. Fans miss Lani's portrayal of Nancy, and her presence would have been the perfect finishing touch. Lani, if you are watching this, know that you are dearly missed and loved by the fan base. Despite the initial shock of the voice acting change, it's important to acknowledge the overall quality of the cast's performance in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. Brittany Cox, in particular, deserves praise for her portrayal of Nancy Drew. While her voice may be very much different from Lani Minella's, Cox brings her own charm and talent to the role, delivering a wonderful performance that captures Nancy's spirit and determination. Personally, I didn't encounter any issues with Cox's voice acting. In fact, I enjoyed listening to her bring Nancy to life. While it may take some getting used to, I believe Cox has done a great job and her portrayal has been embraced by fans. Ultimately, the entire cast in this game has done a commendable job, and their efforts have contributed to making Mystery of the Seven Keys a memorable and enjoyable experience.
Let's go!
Now, let's dive into the lightning round, where we will explore all the quirky and fun aspects of Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys that didn't quite fit into any of our previous categories. From hidden Easter eggs to unexpected surprises, this is where we'll cover it all. Then stick around for my final thoughts on the game as we wrap up our adventure through the mysterious world of Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. For starters, this game is filled with delightful references to past Nancy Drew games, from Nancy's notes to scattered documents and even mentions by suspects. These nods left me feeling giddy inside and added an extra layer of fun to the experience. Moving forward, I believe every Nancy Drew game should incorporate these references. Additionally, I was very pleasantly surprised to discover numerous references to community content creators, Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and more. It's incredibly cool to see our passionate community acknowledged in this game. Thank you, Her Interactive, for including us. Another notable critique I have is the lack of merchandisable elements in the game. In today's market, merchandising is a significant aspect of any franchise. I mean, look at Disney movies. The amount of merchandise that they offer for each movie is absolutely insane. For instance, the absence of a gift shop or tangible in-game items that could be sold as real-life merchandise is a missed opportunity. Imagine Nancy Drew themed in-game emotes or stickers that could be translated into real-life digital products available for purchase on the Her Interactive website. It would be so cool if we could send Ned or the Hardy Boys in-game emojis or stickers and then be able to buy those in real life and send them to our Nancy Drew game fan friends. Additionally, the introduction of a cute mascot character similar to those in popular franchises like Persona could have enhanced this game's appeal and potential for merchandising. It's puzzling to me why these opportunities were so overlooked, and I hope that Her Interactive considers incorporating such elements in future potential releases. I mean, at this point, I would even be happy with a mystery-solving rubber duck. A notable aspect of the game is the presence of empty space, particularly in the beautifully designed piazzas. To enhance player engagement, I suggest introducing more collectible in-game cards hidden throughout these areas. Additionally, incorporating slice-of-life content through hidden areas could provide players with non-voiced digital novel cutscenes, offering insights into the characters' lives and enriching the game's storytelling experience. These additions have the potential to add depth and intrigue to the future of Nancy Drew games. Another missed opportunity is the absence of a dungeon crawling minigame. Games like Tomodachi Life on the Nintendo 3DS feature engaging minigames where characters battle household objects in a dungeon setting. A similar turn-based minigame in Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys, where characters team up to defeat an evil marionette puppet, perhaps, could greatly enhance the game's replay value and add an exciting new dimension to gameplay. Incorporating fun minigames like this could further immerse players in the Nancy Drew universe and provide enjoyable diversions from the main storyline. Now that the lightning round is over, I just want to say thank you for sticking around for this journey through Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. I know it's been a long ride, but we're finally reaching the end. In this conclusion, I'll be summarizing all my thoughts about the game, from its strengths to its weaknesses and everything in between. So grab a seat and let's dive into the final chapter of our adventure together. Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys completely exceeded my expectations for a Nancy Drew game. Her Interactive took all the feedback from Midnight in Salem and used it to make this game even better. From the updated graphics and user interface to the well-crafted puzzles and gameplay, they seamlessly integrated the classic Nancy Drew system with modern elements. Visually stunning, the game takes players on an incredible rollercoaster ride of mystery from start to finish. Despite encountering some minor bugs along the way, the game remained thoroughly enjoyable and kept me immersed in this adventure. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. My score for Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys is... You've seen it here on the Italian Gamer Joe channel. I am rating Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys an 8 out of 10. I deducted 1 point for the minor bugs and visual impairments, as well as the questionable music choices. Another point was deducted for some of the missed opportunities in side quest content and merchandisable elements. However, despite these flaws, I consider my 8 out of 10 score to be a significant endorsement. This game easily ranks among my top 5 favorite Nancy Drew games of all time, alongside classics like Curse of Blackmore Manor and Deadly Device. The immersive story captivated me from beginning to end, and if this is the standard for future Nancy Drew games moving forward, I eagerly anticipate what Her has in store next. And finally, before we wrap things up, let's address the big, giant, ginormous elephant in the room. There was no preview for a future Nancy Drew game at the end of Mystery of the Seven Keys. The audacity! However, eagle-eyed players may have noticed a note on Nancy's notebook that raises some intriguing questions. In the note, she mentions being relieved that Frank and Joe didn't bring up the Hardys and Drew Detective Agency again. This is not the first time this agency has been mentioned. It also came up at the end of Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem. The fact that it's been brought up to Nancy's attention twice now is a huge clue. Could this be hinting at a future installment where Nancy teams up with the Hardy Boys? And speaking of potential future Nancy Drew games, let's talk about this concept that I've been suggesting for years on Discord and the community Her Interactive message boards. How amazing would it be if there was a live service Nancy Drew game set in River Heights, filling in the gaps between each mainline Nancy Drew game? Imagine a game hosted on the Her Interactive website, where players could subscribe monthly through Digital River and receive continuous content in the form of cases, puzzles, cosmetics, and more. The inspiration for this idea comes from Sleuth: Shades of Mystery, an online flash game from the early 2000s, where players explored a city and solved mysteries by collecting evidence and figuring out who did it. Now picture this same concept, but players instead step into Nancy's shoes and explore River Heights, solving smaller cases, collecting evidence, and unraveling puzzles that are easily solvable along the way. It would be a massive, immersive experience, and I believe it would be an absolute blast to play. Hi everyone. So before I get started with my conclusion, I just want to let you know that I wrote it, so if you see me peering away from camera, that's because I'm just reading my conclusion. It's a lot. I wrote like an essay for this, so let's just get started. First and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Her Interactive for granting me the incredible opportunity to be part of the launch day team and experience Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. I also would like to say thank you for the t-shirt. I think it looks awesome, and for the care package you sent, it was so cool. And yes, I did get glitter bomb. I'm still vacuuming and cleaning up glitter from all over the place. This journey wouldn't have been possible without the hard work and dedication of the entire Her Interactive team, from the developers to the marketing team, speaking of which, a huge shout out to the Her Interactive marketing team for their exceptional work, especially Rue, Briella, and Indy, who have been instrumental in engaging with the community and making the launch a success. I'd also like to express my sincere thanks to Penny, the CEO of Her Interactive, for her commitment to preserving the legacy of the Nancy Drew and Her Interactive brand. Her leadership has been crucial in shaping the success of Mystery of the Seven Keys. A special shout out goes to all the Nancy Drew players who have made this experience truly wonderful. Your passion and dedication to the series have enriched the community and created countless unforgettable moments together. To those players who have passed away, may you rest in peace knowing that the Clue crew will continue to honor your memory and solve mysteries in your honor. I also want to express my gratitude to the Italian Gamer Joe community for their unwavering support and camaraderie. The friendships that I've made personally within this community have been invaluable, and I'm incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Finally, to all my viewers and supporters, thank you for joining me on this journey. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube and Twitch channels, where I'll be streaming Nancy Drew Mystery of the Seven Keys. Thank you once again to everyone involved, and here's to many more adventures in the Nancy Drew universe. All I have is a Coke Zero for this. Cheers. Being a part of this community has been an absolute blast, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to create this review and experience the key release with all of you. So cheers to the future, and let's keep solving mysteries together. See you later.